What's going on, guys? This is Alec here and welcome to a video basically giving you the best tips and tricks of how to be better at this FIFA. So I just thought I'd make this video. I just finished rank 2 in the first weekend league that I did, and my team is not very good at all. So I know the start of FIFA is kind of a tricky time for anyone to really get used to the game and to find their own play style and basically just try and, get into the player that they're good enough to be. So I thought I'd make this quick little video. It'll sort of be, half of it will sort of be things for like real beginners, just easy tips and tricks that probably a lot of you already know. But the other things are just going to be things that maybe you haven't thought of doing, or just other things that will definitely help you improve your gameplay. So basically what I'm trying to say is I got rank 2 with a really terrible team on FUT Champs. So if you guys have got loads of coins, which I don't have, then basically these tips, if you implement them into your FIFA game, you'll be well equipped to go for the bigger rewards, rank 2, rank 1, all of that good stuff. But yeah. Okay, so coming in at number 1, and probably the most important thing this FIFA as well, you're probably wondering, as you'll see from this next clip, what the hell these green lines on the floor are on FIFA. This is me telling my players where I want them to make a run. So, as some of you may or may not know, there's a new feature in the game that I think it came into last year, but you can tap L1 and it'll send your players on a run. But they've added another feature onto that where if you tap L1 to make your play, and you can see here once they've started making that forward run, if you tap L1 to make them do that, and then once they've finished, or once they're sort of in the motion of making that run, you flick the right analog stick in the direction that you want them to now run to. Look at this from Foden, he's running forward, I flicked right analog sticks to say run that way instead, he receives the ball and scores. Just look at all of the examples here. I use it in pretty much every single attack that I do, and if you've got speedy players up top, it works great. If you want to just make a decoy run, it works great. Okay, and the next thing is plain and simply corners. Corner kicks on FIFA are such a good way of scoring goals. Now, if you look at this is how I score sort of like 90% of my corners. Using the L1 to switch to a player in the box. Again, many of you probably already know this, but the key thing is when you're in the box, you may have like good headers on your team, like your centre backs and stuff, whatever. Don't look for that. When you're looking in the box, look at what I do, and I always look for the biggest mismatch. Try and see who your player is coming up against and switch to them. You make this run into the near post. It does work at the back post as well. I haven't had much situations where people bring their keepers out, but if people do bring their keepers out to that near post, you can just do this corner and aim it in at the back post instead. It works both ways. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to jump into is your actual in-game controller settings. I've tweaked a few of these, so I'm just going to go down. You check that you've got the same as me, but I'm also going to take you through some of the most important ones. Like some of them don't make too much difference, but timed finishing, as you can see from this clip here, this is Phil Foden scoring a time finish this year. Time finishes are back this year, and if you don't use it, you really need to get it on and practice with it. Just practice time finishing, the finesse shots, time finish from outside the box. Just try and get them into your game. Honestly, this year they are a game changer. I know it's a pain to have to learn something, and it's a bit of a faff, but honestly it is worth it, and they will get you like an extra goal or two in the weekend league or division rivals that will just take you to the next level. Okay, so all these are on auto switching, on air balls and loose balls. I think that's the standard setting. That's a good one to keep on. Auto switching and move assistance, I'm not sure what this is, but make sure it's on none. Clearance assistance on, directional, player lock on, icon switching on, player relative, that's fine. Ground pass assisted, make sure all these are on assisted. Save assistance doesn't matter. Then this is the next big one. This is a huge one. Analog sprint. Make sure this is off. It'll automatically be on. Make sure it's off. And I personally really like this one as well. The pass receiver lock. I put it on early. I don't know whether you find that this game, your players are passing to the wrong person a lot of the time. Switch this from late to early and you will see a hell of a difference in the passing. The next thing is probably the most obvious thing you will find on the game, and that is your custom tactics. I like to do mine a little bit differently to most people. I like to have 4 different formations in my custom tactics. And on top of that, I think it's worth noting as well, like, I do it myself, I'm guilty of it, not being bothered to make like more custom tactics than I need. But honestly, fill out all 4 of your custom tactics, and that way in game you can just change from, you know, game plan to game plan. Because you'll often find in games that you may feel like, I'm a lot better than this person, but I don't know, his team is just really suited to block my custom tactics. And that's why I like to have a wide variety of formations on mine. This is my standard one here, in a 3-5-2. And the key thing is to, even though, you know, you'll watch all these videos online of people telling you all the best custom tactics and whatever, the harsh reality is none of them will be fully suited to you. Maybe the off chance that there is. You need to get used to the custom tactics and pick what suits you best. Like for example here, I've got 60 width and 70 depth, but that's because all 3 of my centre backs are really, really quick. And I've got 2 good CDMs in front of them who are there to, you know, sweep up and get all the lost possessions. Both of my wide centre-backs are 85 pace and above. So I play on a high depth because I like to play quite aggressive. That's also the reason why I've got press after possession losses, because I've got fast centre-backs and they can make them recovery runs a lot better. But in the last weekend league that I just played, I got rank 2. I was actually playing with Bonucci and Piqué in my team. And you may be thinking, what the hell? Trust me, I know that it is a terrible decision. But if you use in players like that, don't have things like press after possession lost on. Play on more of a balanced defensive style. But then with your depth, just drop it back down. And you can play on sort of 35-40 depth if you're not playing with the quickest players. It's also, you know, a fairly obvious point as well. But make sure you've got all your instructions on the relevant players. To be fair, from watching people online, listen to what people have to say about their instructions on their players. They're usually quite reasonable and quite good. But again, you know, it's obviously dependent on the certain players you have. Like, for example, what I've got up top, I've got no instructions on Bobby Firmino because he's quite good at just doing the right things. Whereas with Vinicius Jr., he's got 95 pace. I just want him getting in behind and making them runs in behind the defence. I obviously wouldn't put a tactic like that on Roberto Firmino when he's only got 78 pace. Pretty obvious one next, and one of the ones that everyone likes to see. Skill moves on FIFA. If you're not doing them, you need to try and get them into your game. Any good FIFA player will do skill moves just to get that yard of pace. This one is one of the new ones, the 4-touch turn. You hold L2 and then you flick down on the analog twice, or in the opposite direction you're facing. This is another one of the new ones. A 5-star skill is required for this one. It's the, I don't know what it's called. But it's the first time touch. You hold L1 and R1 down and do nothing else. You release when you want to come out of it. I only recorded these over sort of a few games, but you can see how effective they can be in certain situations. So basically that's it. I don't really have anything else to add to this video. I guess I could have gone in a little bit more depth with the skill moves and stuff, but I kind of wanted to keep this video as short as possible. If you do want me to do a part 2, then I can definitely do that and think of some more things that I think may be useful, or all the rest of it. But yeah, for now, I'll leave you with that. Yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments if I missed anything and all the rest of it. But yeah, give us a like and subscribe if you like FIFA content. I'm on the grind this year. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. I'll catch you next time, and peace.